Good morning, everyone. My name is Julie. I am the owner and founder of Lady Faulties, and you are either watching this video on my Facebook group or my YouTube channel, which are both called Lady Faulties Light Healing. Today we're going to be talking about building an altar and what exactly that means, and all the different possibilities of what your altar could look like, including things that you may want to put on your altar. So before we start, real quick, I am going to just do a little smudge. Typically in my other videos from last year, which was just a couple of days ago, we would pull a new, on Thursday we would pull a chakra card, and I'm not going to be doing that same format this year. So on Monday, I do a weekly forecast, which is going to basically tell you anything you need to be looking for during the week. Astrological stuff, full moon stuff, eclipses, retrogrades, anything like that. And we pulled a oracle card from my Gaia deck on Monday. So the card that we're working with this week is Harmony, and I did post a picture of that up on the group, so you can go ahead and check out that card if you'd like. I kind of put a quick little reading in there. All right, so we're just gonna get this little smudge going, not too much in this morning. I am gonna just light my candle real quick if I can, or maybe not. I have a lot of stuff here because I wanted to make sure I had stuff to show you, but typically I have a lot of stuff on my space anyway. But kind of gonna just build a little mock altar with you. So real quick, I do have another video from last year that talks about altars, so if you want, you can certainly go back and find that video and watch it as well. So basically today I'm just going to take a few little seconds and basically tell you the meaning of an altar, or what an altar is for, and then I'm going to go over some specifics on altar building. And my little opinion, because I always throw my little 2 cents in there about things. So altar really is just a table or a space used for religious or spiritual reasons. So really it's pretty much wide open to really whatever you want it to be. I have a little table here which has a lot of my stuff on it, but this is not my altar space. My altar space is in my bedroom. It's too big for me to move out here. So I was thinking that maybe this weekend I'll go live with my phone just for a few minutes and just kind of give you guys a quick breakdown of what is on my altar and why. But I'm going to do my best to represent today here. Their altars are been known for rituals, and people use the word sacrifice. Now, definitely back in history, sacrifice meant sacrifice. It was, there was some sort of animal sacrifice, whether it be a goat or a cow or a chicken or whatever it was. The word sacrifice now, for most of us, I'm sure there are still somebody out there that believes in the old ways. But for most of us, sacrifice is some sort of little offering. I just did a offering for Mother Earth, and I put candy in it. So it can be very minimal, your offering. It doesn't need to be your firstborn child or anything like that. So when I say these words, you know, don't necessarily think that I'm, if I use offering or sacrifice, I didn't go down the street and get the neighbor's chickens. It's, you know, very small. Morning, Cindy. Thanks for popping on. So your offering can be very small. So just if I'm using the word offering or sacrifice, just know that that's what I mean by using those terminologies. And the word altar comes from the Latin word, and I don't speak Latin, so it's basically just the word altar with an E on it. I don't know how exactly they would say it. I would still say it the same, maybe altair. I don't know. And basically, all that means in Latin is podium or stage. So again, it's just a table, a space. You know, people don't really associate it, but if you go into a church and you see the big table that's set up at the front that usually has where they keep the, you know, the wine and the bread and candles and stuff, that is an altar space. So again, when I use the word altar, you know, it doesn't necessarily mean that I'm worshiping the devil or anything like that. Because I think a lot of the words that we use have, the meanings have kind of got lost, and people, they know what they see on TV, on movies and things like that, and those are not always the best representations of what it is that the word actually is. So again, if I'm using the word offering or sacrifice, it's, you know, not offerings of animals. It's, you know, usually some small offering. It can be some of your hair if you wanted to do, depending on what it is you're looking for. And we're going to get into that a little bit more. But just wanted to make sure that you guys knew what that terminology was if you ever hear me use it in this video or any other video. And so typically you're going to want to bring in something of all 4 elements. I actually go to 5 elements in spirit, which is your 5-pointed star, but that's another conversation too. So the basics of building an altar are really, really simple. There's not really any right or wrong way. People get caught up with the fact that it has to be done this way and it has to have all these things on it. And if I don't have this one thing, then my altar is no good. It's not going to work. And I'm here to tell you that that's not true. I have, and you've heard me discuss this in other videos if you've watched them. An altar space can be super simple. You could go to the dollar store and get, well, I'll just use an example right now. You probably can't see it, but up on my counter, I went to the dollar store and I bought a placemat, table mat, that was red, green, and gold, which are the Yule colors. And I put my Yule log on it and a couple of candles. That's it. That's my Yule altar. It can be really simple. At Easter time, you know, again, go to the dollar store for Ostera. Go to the dollar store, buy pastel-y colored table mat and a vase and some even fake spring flowers and maybe a little stuffed bunny on there. And you're good. At Ostera, I just use this little guy for my rabbit. I don't know where I bought him, but I thought he was cute and I keep him. So it can be super simple. So my first thing is, don't get caught up in the whole, you have to have all these things, because you don't. You don't have to have all these things. Your altar space can be super simple if that's what you want, or if that's what your budget allows for. But I'm going to show you some things as well that you can work on an altar in really affordable ways. So All right, so before I go into the items, though, I did want to just talk really quick about when you're setting up an altar, what it can be for. So your altar can be for anything, really. Again, it doesn't need to be for anything specific if you don't want it to be. But some of the typical ones is there's an ancestral one, and I talked about that during Samhain, setting up an ancestral altar. Again, just holidays. So like I said, I have a really simple, just little space up there for my Yule log for Christmas, Yule. And then again, I do something very similar around Austera time and harvest time, different ones. Real simple. Basically, it looks like a centerpiece, you know, but I do it with intention, which is what makes it an altar space. So that's really the biggest thing, is it's the intention that you're using when you're making this altar. It's not so much about what's actually being placed on the altar. Altars can be for deities, however you want to say it. The one in my bedroom is for Gaia, Mother Earth, Papa Pachamama, whatever you want to call her, Mother Nature. That is what my altar space in my bedroom is for. And again, maybe Saturday or Sunday, depending on what's going on. Saturday I have to go get my tattoo finished, so I don't know if I'll get to it on Saturday, but I'll find a few minutes somewhere during the weekend to just take my phone down and go live and just kind of go over what's on there and why I have it on there. And so maybe that'll help a little bit. So holidays, deities, you can do an ancestral one, and you can use it. You know, I said an ancestral one at Samhain, but you can leave up an ancestral one all the time if you want. You know, I mean, it's no different. I have pictures of my grandparents out. They're on my fridge, but pictures of my grandparents that have passed. So, morning, Bree. Thanks for joining me. We're talking about altar building today. So we're just going over what altar means and some of the words that we use associated with altar. So you haven't missed much yet. But yes, so altars can be for holidays, deities, they can be ancestral ones. Those are a lot of common ones. And then manifesting. And when I use the word manifesting, again, it's a pretty wide open word. You could be manifesting money. You could be manifesting love. You could be manifesting success. You could just say it's for abundance. And so depending on what your intention is for that would make a difference of what you would want to place on your altar. So hoping all this when I'm done is going to tie in for you. So some of the items, again, you're going to want to, and again, when I say you're going to want to, this is recommendations. Again, you don't need any of these things on your altar if you don't want them to. But if you wanted to cover, how's that? If you wanted to cover the 4 elements, east, south, west, and north, there are items for each of those things, and I will go over that. The other thing is if you wanted to bring in something for spirit, you can certainly do that, and I'll cover that. If you're doing it, again, for manifesting, you're going to want to tie something in there. If you're doing it for ancestral, you may want a piece of jewelry that your grandmother gave you, or a picture of your grandfather, or something like that that's going to tie in. If it's a deity, it may be a picture or a statue, something like that. Holidays, a good way to tie it in is colors. So, you know, and it's pretty simple. At Austera, Easter is pastels, Maybon and autumn, and those types are your browns and oranges and yellows. Christmas, Yule is the red, green, and gold. So you can do that in all kinds of ways, bringing in those colors. But for me, the easiest is just go buy the dollar placemats at the dollar store. But again, I'm going to go into the items now, and hopefully that'll help bring it all together for you a little bit better. So, and I'm going to try to show you some of the things I have here. So the first thing I have on here is a chalice. This is one that I keep handy here at my space out here where my desk is. This is not really my altar space again, but these are things I like to keep handy in my workspace for if I'm doing something, because this is where I would do rituals or journeys or anything like that, because this is where I watch my classes. But this is a chalice. I found this at a secondhand store. I think I paid like $1 for it. And so this is a nice chalice you could use. Chalice is going to represent water, mostly because it holds water. But the other thing that some people use the chalice for is the representation of the feminine. So it would be the representation of the womb and the birth canal, and then, yes, the opening. So it can also be used that way. I like my stuff a little bit more on the goth kind of dark looking side, but it doesn't need to be. Again, the cup I drink out of, you could use this. I bought this at the dollar store. So you could use something like that from the dollar store. I like to try to go to the secondhand shops and the thrift stores and things like that to find my altar stuff. And again, when I show you my altar, I have a chalice in there that I found at a local thrift store, which I found it like, I don't know, 10, 15, 20 years ago, so I don't even know what I paid for it, probably like a nickel or something. But this one, again, so it's good. This is going to represent water for you. The next thing I have on my list, which I'm just going to leave the chalice here for a second because I'm going to show you how you can double use that, is I have listed a bowl or a shell for some sort of smudging. Now I have this beautiful shell here, which has all my smudge stuff in it. And I don't remember where I got my shell. I think I got it from Sage Goddess. But you can really find them in a lot of different places. You will probably not find this at the dollar store. But again, if you wanted, all you'd have to do is take that smudge stick and you can use your chalice. So you can kind of make things multi-purposeful if you'd like. Your smudge is going to represent the air. So your chalice was for your water, and your smudge is for your air. All right. So another thing that you might want to use is the cloth. And again, that's to me is a really easy way to bring in the color if you're looking for holidays or manifesting. So if you were going to be manifesting, if you wanted to manifest money, you might want to get a green mat or cloth. If you're manifesting love, it could be pink. If you're trying to manifest passion, you could put a red cloth. So all the different colors that you can put in there are going to help make your altar more represent what it is that you're looking for. And again, you can be really open about it. You can be really creative as well. You know, it can be all different kinds of things. It doesn't even have to be plain. It could be, you know, a printed mat. I don't know. If for example, if you're trying to bring in more happiness and your favorite thing is unicorns, you could get a mat that has little unicorns all over it if that's what makes you happy and you're trying to bring in happiness. So again, you know, I like my things a little bit more vintage and on the dark side, but that doesn't mean that that's what yours has to look like. Yours could be all kinds of fun colors and you know, look completely different than my altar and still be manifesting the same thing. So again, there's no really right or wrong way. These are just things that you would typically use in building an altar if you so wanted to. So I have from class here, let me see if I've got one that's opened. I don't have one that's opened. Your cloth can also be, what we say cloth or mat. We have these that we got from Sage Goddess when I bought my tools. So this was the Samhain one, the ancestral one. And if you see on here, there's little circles that are going to kind of help you know where your placement is. But you could just get a picture. If you had a picture of something that you liked, like I said, or something that makes you happy, or whatever it is, you can use that picture. It doesn't have to be a placemat. You could print out a picture and do it. You could even, if you wanted, like I said, there's really no right or wrong way. You could make a little vision board collage thing and use that as your mat. Yeah, I'm pretty sure I got that one from Sage Goddess and it came with it was like a smudge bundle thing. Like it came with a bunch of stuff in it, I think. But I don't remember now. But yeah, a friend of mine found one at a yard sale for like $5 a shell. So, you know, you can just keep your eye out for things, and you know, you don't have to get everything today. Might take you a little while to do this, or again, maybe you're going to be more of a simplist and your altar is going to just have like 2 or 3 items on it, and that's okay too. So that's my biggest thing, is there's no right or wrong way. It's whatever you feel called to. So you could have your mat, and then you're going to have, we've said your chalice for water, and your smudging, which, like I said, you could use the shell. You could use your chalice as well if you wanted to put your smudge in your chalice. Another good idea is a copper bowl, because copper is a really good conductor for you. So if you wanted to have a little copper bowl, you could put your smudge in that. Again, there's no right or wrong way. These are just suggestions. Another good thing to use is a feather. My feather is way over there. I can't reach it. I was looking to see. But I always have I save feathers from outside. Can't see that very well because of the lighting. Yeah. So this bag has small little feathers up to some big feathers. I have some big crows in the yard. But whenever we find a feather out in the yard, I save them for different things I'm going to craft or make. But you could always just, you know, just have a single feather and set it with your smudge tools, or so again, don't have to spend any money if you don't want to. You can go buy fancy feathers. You know, you can buy, you can go into a metaphysical shop and buy pretty much any kind of feather. They have like turkey feathers, falcon feathers, peacock feathers. But just go for a walk in the woods and find, like, look, this is just a little, and it's pretty, this one's pretty beat up and banged up, so I probably wouldn't use that for my altar. I would probably use that if I was going to be doing some sort of offering that might be buried or burned. I might use that feather because that guy doesn't look so good. But, you know, these are, like I said, these are just feathers we've found in our yard here. So you don't have to spend a lot of money if you don't want to. All right, so feather is air. And you could bring in crystals, And when I say crystals, you could go out and again, you could buy all kinds of fancy crystals. But you'll see when I show you my altar, it's got just a lot of rocks. They're just rocks I like. Different kinds of rocks that we have found. Either, my husband and I are always picking up rocks when we go places. I have a jar here from when we went to the beach that has, there's rocks, there's some driftwood, there's some moss. And if I need something, I can, get it out of here. But you could do, so again, it depends on what your altar space is for. Again, if you're trying to manifest love, you'd probably want to use some rose quartz. If you were trying to manifest money, you might want to use some green aventurine. If you were doing some ancestral stuff, you might want to use maybe some obsidian or onyx. And again, if you're doing deities, then again, you can learn all about the different crystals and things that would represent those different deities. But again, mine is in my bedroom is for Gaia. And so I really just got some rocks. So they're not anything fancy for crystals. I do have a little crystal set on there that a friend of mine gave me, and I felt like it needed to go there. But it's just rocks from walks in the woods or on the lawn or whatever. Show you here. My husband went to Italy on a business trip, and he said, "What do you want me to bring you home?" And I said, "A rock." And he's like, "Are you serious?" And I'm like, "Yeah." And so this is my little rock that I keep here from my husband from Italy. So it doesn't have to be something that you go out and spend a ton of money on. I do have a lot of crystals that I have bought, but I will tell you that most of my crystals are pretty small. I don't tend to buy a lot of big ones, basically because I don't have a whole lot of space, and basically because I think it's easier to work with the smaller ones than it is the bigger ones. But, if you're not really sure what kind of crystal to use, it's always pretty safe to use a quartz, because quartz is your magnifier. So whatever your intention is, whatever your purpose is for this altar, your quartz is going to just magnify that. So if you're trying to, again, manifest love or money, success, and you don't have a crystal that I mentioned there, you can just use a quartz. And you can get really creative with quartz. You could get a bunch of quartz and make a little grid if you wanted, or you could just place them on there. Again, it's whatever you really feel called to do. So, and you can get very technical. You can go get a lot of different crystals and do a crystal grid on your altar if you want. And I'm not going to get into crystal gridding today because that's like a whole nother thing that I wouldn't have time to get into. But again, maybe we will at some point. I'm sure we will at some point. I'll do a grid with you of some type at some point, but not today. And again, if you really want to put a grid on there and you have a bunch of crystals, you can pretty much just hit YouTube or Google, and I'm definitely not the only source out here for that kind of information. So you can definitely, if you want to learn about gridding, go for it. If there's something you're really interested in, you can always message me and I'll try to get it, done sooner than later. But if you want to know something, I encourage you to go find an answer. If it's not for me, go find it somewhere else. That's perfectly fine. I'm not ever going to say, no, you have to just learn from me, because my way is the only way. But because I don't think there is any only way. Again, altars can be very personal, and altars can be very, very simple to very, very complicated. It's whatever you choose to do with it. But back to, so crystals, again, those are going to represent the earth. And again, like I said, you can really literally just go get rocks out of your driveway or Italy. But anything will do. It doesn't have to be a big, fancy, super expensive crystal. It doesn't have to be a generator, a sphere, or any specific type of crystal. There are, again, I did way back a video on all the different types of crystals. So the sphere, what the sphere is used for, a generator is used for, all of those things. So if you're looking for that information, you can certainly go back and watch that video. Another thing is a candle, and again, you can use pretty much any kind of candle. There's no right or wrong way for candles. I have, just little candles around there. I have a white one, which is pretty standard. If you don't know what color to use, you can use a white one. If you're looking for healing or success, you can use a green candle. The candle I just lit, I will at some point, I will do a gridding. Basically what I'm doing for this year is I am using 3 books to follow through for the year. So we're going to work on, off topic here a little bit, but we're going to go through the chakras. So each month we're going to do a chakra. And then as we go through the months, we're going to be going through the blessing and rituals. So I picked one from January, which was the building an altar. So that's what we're doing today out of the book, is that one. And then I have got a another book that I just bought off Amazon, which is the Witch's Date Book, which has all kinds of great information in it. And you'll see I've written all kinds of stuff in there already, but there are just tons of things in there. So those are the 3 books I'm going to be using this year. So I'm sure in Athena's book somewhere is gridding in one of those books. So we will talk about it, I'm sure, at some point. But I'm kind of trying to follow the books. But if there, like I said, if there really is something somebody wants to know, I will make sure that that gets done sooner than later. So candles, obviously going to represent your fire. Yeah, you have all those books. Do you have the Witch's Date Book? I've been wanting to get this one every year for like the last 3 or 4 years. And this year I'm just like, I'm getting it. I'm doing it. I don't care. So fire is candle. These I bought off Amazon. And again, I'm just showing you different things that you can do. These I bought off Amazon. There's a lot of them that are gone now, but there was 20 in here and of all different colors. And I paid like $9.99 for these. And then, sorry, as much as I try to be organized, sometimes I'm just not. And then I have these little teeny candle holders that hold those little candles. I do have a bunch of these for sale in different colors. And depending on the size and the color and whatnot is depending on the price. So if you are looking for something, you do have it. I know I've been wanting one for years and I never buy one. And so this year I'm just like, I don't care, I'm buying one. But if you don't have a little holder like this, I do have a bunch of them for sale. And if you need one, just let me know. But again, pretty much any metaphysical shop you walk into is going to have little candle holders like these. So, and they're not super expensive. I think I have mine marked for like $1 or $2 or $3, depending on what it is. But mine has the little tree on it that I like. And it goes with my tree tattoo under there that you can't see because I got too many bracelets on. All right, so candle. And again, the color, again, you don't need any color. You can just go get a plain white candle. Just reading your comments real quick. I don't know. I got an angry face, but I'm not sure what the angry face was for. So your candle can be all the colors depending, again, on what you're trying to manifest, or it could be on the holidays. So again, at Christmas time, Yule time, you might want a red candle or a green candle. At Samhain, you might want a black or an orange candle. At Ostera, you might want a pink or a lavender candle. If you're trying for love, a pink candle. If you're trying for money, a green candle. Again, it goes on and on and on. I'm just giving you some examples. So depending on what your altar is for, you can, do the candles. That's why I liked that little kit from Amazon. Like I said, I think I paid like $9.99 for it. And it came with 20 candles, and it was like 2 of each candle color. So, and then I have my little candle holder, and I just change them out as I need them for different colors. So it can be really, again, it can be really simple, or you could go buy big, huge candles. I mean, Athena sells all kinds of different candles on Sage Goddess, and, they range all the way up sometimes to $25 to $35 per candle. If you, want, you could just get a really nice big candle and use that candle all the time. Again, no right or wrong way. I like these little candles. They're easy to switch out, and they don't take up a lot of space. So, and you're going to want something obviously to light with, either some sort of lighter or, you can buy like 5,000 of these for $1 at the dollar store. So a lot of time if I'm doing ritual and things, I do try to light it with the candle, with the matches. I think it is a little bit more, there's a little more intention in that than the lighter, but sometimes if I'm just in a hurry and I want to smudge, I go with the lighter. But all right, so next is going to be, you can use a pendulum. You can use your oracle cards. You could keep some runes on there. I have all of the above. Again, you don't need all of the above. You don't need any of them if you don't want to, or you can just have one or any combination. So I keep a pendulum here in my little workspace. I also keep a pendulum in my purse. I have all kinds of oracle decks here that, we've talked about, but I'll just show you the one that we're going to be working with this year. Like I said, we pulled a card on Monday, and we pulled a card from my oracle deck for Gaia. Kind of see a pattern here for me. But that is my altar in my bedroom is, I thought I kept the Harmony card out. Oh, it's right here. This was the card we pulled on Monday. So you can keep an oracle deck or a tarot deck on your altar space if you want. Another thing you can do, I'll put that back after, is work with runes. This is a set I made, and my husband helped me. He went out and got a little branch, and he cut them all into little thin slices, and then I've put the runes on them. That was not a good one. So they all have a little rune on them. So again, if you don't have a super big budget, you can easily make some of these things. So that's my little rune set. It was just a branch that my husband found that he cut, and then I just did that with a pencil. I just drew them on with a pencil. I do plan on going back. I bought a wood burner, so I do plan on going back the deck is the Gaia deck. So that's the deck that we're going to be working with this year. So every Monday we'll pull a new card for the week. And so this week's card was Harmony. And I got this on Amazon, and I don't think I paid much, $15, $20. It wasn't super expensive. These decks are decks that I've gotten over the year, a year and a half. They're not, I didn't go out and buy like 7 decks all at the same time. You know, as I see them, as I'm called to them, I buy them. But again, you know, I prefer the Oracle cards over the tarot cards. But I did buy a set of tarot cards that I absolutely love. And the pictures on them, again, are very me. They're very kind of dark and goth and looking. And I know that's not everybody's cup of tea, so you don't need to get cards like this. You could get any kind of cards. But these ones are just, and my lighting is horrible here today, so I don't know why. But the pictures, I was just really, really drawn to the pictures on this deck. Trying to get it so you can see it. So again, there's no right or wrong way. You can use oracle cards, you can use tarot cards, you can use a pendulum, you can use runes, you can even have a bowl of water if you want to scry. That's on my agenda to learn this year. You can, you know, use the tea leaves. There's all kinds of divinations that you can learn and use as well. But I am drawn mostly to my pendulum. That is what, if I'm really working on something, that's what I use. The runes, yeah, I haven't learned how to use them yet, Bobby Joe. So, or Brie, I haven't learned how to use them yet. So I have them. And I don't know, we did something, I think, in class where we had to pick a rune. And so that's why I had my husband make it for me. I haven't actually learned how to use them yet. So again, on my agenda, there is a gentleman here, not in town here, but about a 45-minute drive from me, who does a runes class. So maybe that'll be on my list to do for this year. Again, I'm learning as I'm teaching you guys and doing these videos. I'm learning it myself. So, so your pendulum and your cards, your runes, like I said, you could do just a bowl of water for scrying. You can do tea leaves. You can really just whatever is your calling. That's perfectly fine. Another thing you could keep on your altar space is a journal and something to write with. I do have a book up there that when I use my pendulum, I use it and I write down my question that I ask, and then I write down my answers. So you could do that. If you're journeying at your altar space, when you're done the journey, you might want to write that in your journal. Thoughts, intentions. Your journal can have anything you want in it. So it does, again, no right or wrong way. And I know some of you guys struggle with that because you want me to tell you this has to go here, this has to go here, this has to go here, and that's how it's done. I'm sorry. I can't tell you that, but I can give you the recommendations and suggestions, and then you guys can take it from there and make it your own. You can put some sort of power piece on there. Again, on my altar, when I show it to you, you'll see there's a lot of different little things. I have some seashells, which again would be your water element, but I just really love the seashells, so I put them on there. There's actually a deer vertebrae on there, which was again something we found in our walk in the woods, and so that is on my altar space, and that just symbolizes the whole death and rebirth and growth. But again, when I do this weekend, I'll do a quick little thing and I'll explain everything, why it's there. Power pieces can be, like I said, it could be, if you're doing ancestral, it could be a picture. It could be a piece of jewelry, something you were gifted from your ancestor. Or my grandma always loved roses, so I might put some roses on there for her. If it's holidays, it's like all different. Again, if you know, Easter Ostera would be eggs and bunnies. I have that little bunny that I like. But your personal item can be anything, really. Again, I have a set of crystals that a friend of mine gave me, so I put those there. I have a charm bracelet from when I was really little. My parents every year gave me a little charm to put on my charm bracelet, so that kind of has some meaning for me, so that is on there. I have some little metal dragonflies on there. Again, no right or wrong way, whatever you're called to. Dragonfly is one of my spirit animals, so that's why that is on there. You could put some sort of representation if you're doing it for a deity. You could use a little statue. I have a lot of these around my house. They're little Gaia, Mother Earth statues. So you will find these all over my house. There's one here, there's one up there, there's one over by the door over there. The other thing is the raven. You'll see a lot of ravens in my house because that's another one of my spirit animals. They're not on my altar, but I'm just showing you different things you could have on your altar. Your power piece could be, I don't know, it can really be anything. If there's something that just has a lot of meaning to you and in some way connects to what you're doing with your altar, you can put it on your altar. Sorry, I went back to power piece and I was actually on deities. Sorry, lost track of my thought here, I guess. I have a little statue, and these are just different things that came in my kit. I have a little statue of Lakshmi. She's not really somebody I work with, so that doesn't really do much for me. But it could be a little Ganesha. It could be a little Buddha. It could really be anything. I showed you the raven, and so if you were working with maybe Morgan, who is a deity, she is known for her ravens, so you could tie in something like that. Like Hecate has her dogs, so you could tie in something like that. Again, it's really, really just up to your own interpretation and how you tie things in together is really all it's about. So let me finish up the list here and then I'll explain a little bit more on that. One of the other things you can use is a wand. You can, again, go buy a very expensive wand if you want. There are crystal wands, there are wooden wands, there are wands that incorporate all kinds of things in it. There are copper wired wands. I mean, it's endless, the amount of wands that you could get. My wands are very, very simple. That is my wand. It is a stick I found in the backyard, wrapped with a little piece of sari ribbon that came off some jewelry I bought that was wrapped up in it. And that's it. And you'll see the wand on my altar space in my room is a stick. And that has nothing on it. It's just the stick. But some of the other wands I have this is considered a wand. It was just a selenite wand that I actually took my flash tattoo and added to it. So I like to keep that here. I have this big selenite wand here. My phone reminded me I gotta be wrapping it up here. Selenite wand. This is really good for clearing. So if you wanted to clear, you could start at your up over your crown chakra and go down and just kind of scan your body with it. But you can use a selenite wand. Selenite is really good for clearing. So if you're doing a crystal grid, I wouldn't necessarily say put a piece of selenite on there. If you're not using like a lot of different crystals or gridding of any kind, you could certainly go ahead and use a selenite wand. But just if you put all this crystal grid out and then put a huge piece of selenite on there, it's kind of clearing the grid and not letting the grid really do what it's meant to do. If you wanted to do the grid and then put a nice big piece on there, maybe you could get a quartz generator or something that would give it that nice look, which your quartz is going to amplify your grid, where the selenite is going to kind of constantly be clearing the energy of the grid, which is not really very purposeful. But yeah, your wand can be go out in the backyard, walk around, and find a stick. And then I've thought about, doctoring it up a little bit. I had a little piece of crystal here the other day. What did I do with it? I'm not going to find it now. It's right there. So this little piece of crystal here that I thought, it's a little teeny one. I thought maybe I'd glue on the end or something just to kind of give it a little bit more of a directional use. But again, if you're on a budget, go find a stick. If money is of no limit to you, then you can certainly go on Amazon or any Etsy and spend hundreds of dollars on a wand. And I don't personally feel that if you spend more on a wand, it's any better than another wand. Again, it's just purposeful. So if you're buying a wand that's got a lot of crystals on it, it's going to have a different use than my stick, which is because my altar is more for Gaia. And so I feel the very natural, earthy things that I find outside are going to be a better representation on that altar for Gaia. So, but if you were doing an altar for success and money, maybe you'd want to use a little something different than a stick. So again, but it's really, really up to your interpretation of the whole thing. And again, I know that's hard for some people because some people wanted this, and this, and this, and that's not exactly how it goes. But so we did talk about, the other thing I wrote down, I wrote some other things, is incense are always a good thing to keep on your altar. Whether it's an incense on the charcoal or an incense, like I have all kinds of incense. I have more incense here than I probably use in a lifetime, but you could put this on your charcoal disc, or you can use the cones, which I have tons of cones you can use. I have incense sticks. Again, whatever works for you. And you're like, I don't have any incense. Well, you probably do. You just don't know it. You can go to your cupboard and get some nutmeg and some cinnamon and some ginger and mix it all together and put that on a charcoal disc and have a nice little incense. You could burn a bay leaf. You can clove. All these things that are probably right in your kitchen cupboard. Parsley, rosemary, oregano. All of those things you can mix and match and make different incense. I wouldn't recommend putting rosemary maybe with cinnamon, but certainly if you're looking for different intentions or different, again, holidays, in the holiday time, like, it's the pretty much what you're going to find anyway. Around this time of year, it's all about cinnamon and nutmeg and the gingerbread, things of that sort. So just use your own intuition. It's pretty common sense, really. A lot of us tend to just overthink it and make it more complicated than it really is. Another thing you might want on your altar space is some sort of sound tool, which can really be anything. It could be a drum, it could be a rattle, it could be a rain stick, it could be a singing bowl, it could be a tuning fork, it could be, I don't know, did I say bell? It really could be anything. It could even be like a little set of wind chimes that you use. Yeah, the possibilities are endless. So make it whatever you really want it to be. Another thing that might be good on your altar space is if you've made some sort of offering, a despacho, a bundle, a medicine jar, a medicine bag, an intention jar. And again, I've done videos on all what those things are, but if you have questions, you can certainly let me know, and I can answer you on those things. But I do have videos on those. Your altar could also be, which I didn't mention, you could also do an altar for your chakras, all 7 or just one, however, again, you choose to do it, no right or wrong way. So for example, I always use the throat chakra because that's the one I work on the most. I would want to incorporate a lot of blue in there. Crystals that would be for your throat chakra, a blue candle, things of that sort. So again, I know it's really kind of wide open out there, but it really is, it's whatever you really want it to be. And couple of things, again, no right or wrong way. These are just things that I have read or things that I have heard, so I want to address them. Is a lot of people say that you should put your altar to the east. Now, to me, that's really up for interpretation as well, because if I wanted it, say, on my bar right there, if I'm standing here, it's to the south. But if I go stand over there on the other side of the bar, now it's to the east. So again, when you say you want to do your altar to the east, it's really up for interpretation again. It's where you are and where you're standing. Now, my altar for Gaia is all the way at the end of the bedroom, which is the farthest point east, and it is in that corner of my house, which is east. But it really just ended up being coincidence because it was just really the best space for it to be. So that just really happened to be a coincidence that it was like that. But it goes back to, like, you should always bury your ashes to the east. Well, if it's to your west, just spin around and stand the other way, and now it's to your east. So those are just things that, like, you'll hear people say, oh, you should always have your altar to the east. But really, that's pretty open for interpretation because, like I said, you can just take a couple of steps and turn around, and the direction is different. So, yeah. A lot of people recommend that when you're placing items on your altar, you do it in a directional way as well, that you would start in the east. So that would be placing your smudge, that would be placing anything that would be the air element, the feathers, anything like that, that would be your air element. You'd want to set those to the east of your altar space, whether it's just a table or a mat or whatever. And then you would go to the south, which would be your candle, your lighter, those type of things. And then you'd move over to the west, which would be any kind of your chalice, your pendulum, any of your oracle cards, divination cards, anything like that would go to the west. And then your north would be your crystals, your journal, things of that sort. If you wanted to do a grid, you can either put the grid to the north of your altar, or you could put it to the center. If you have something representing your power piece or your deity, or like I said, ancestrals, you could also place that in the middle if you wanted. Again, really no right or wrong way. If you were going with the east, southwest, and the north, and then you wanted to place a wand, your wand, I would say, put all the way to the top or back of your altar, because that wand is the representation of spirit. Let's see what else here, because I do have to kind of finish up and get to work here. Unfortunately, I do have a muggle job that I have to go to. Oh, the other thing I wanted to mention is if you wanted to keep some oils on your altar space, because I have little oils everywhere. When I first started doing this, I was like, I'm making huge bottles of perfume and oils and anointing blends. And my bathroom is getting kind of taken over. So I bought these little teeny jars. And now the tags are falling off. But this was one I made. It's called Bear. This one is my hydro mix. And I don't even know what these ones are. But if you wanted to do some little oils for anointing or perfuming, blending, whatever you want to call it, those would be on the west with your water things. They're also really good if you have a little dropper, which I usually have a dropper around here somewhere. I always have little droppers around, because you can put those on your charcoal disc and burn those as a smudge incense that way as well. So yeah, I think that's everything I had written down in my notes. So again, I know for you people out there that like things done in ABC order, I didn't necessarily probably give you exactly the answer you wanted today, but I gave you some very good guidelines to go by if that's what you wanted. And again, I'm always here for questions. So if you're telling me you're trying to manifest love and you're not really sure what to put on your altar, just let me know that. I will certainly give you some recommendations. Maybe you don't take my recommendations, but maybe my recommendations will actually get you thinking about some things that might lead you in the right direction of what you actually want to put on there. And again, you don't need to buy super expensive tools. When I'm doing different altars for the holidays and deities and ancestrals and things of that sort, I hit up the dollar store. Honestly, I do. The dollar store candles, the dollar store placemats, you know, any little thing like that is a really great place to hit up the dollar store. This chalice came from the dollar store, but I like to use it and not put it on my altar. I hope that helped answer something for you, whatever that may be. Yeah, and like I said, if you have any questions, you want clarification on something, you want more information on something, whatever it is, I'm here to help. So go ahead and use that source. If I don't know the answer, I will find an answer for you. And don't worry about bothering me, because I absolutely love to do it. I don't get any money for making these videos. I don't, really sell anything. I'm going to be working this year on making my own essential oil blends and selling those, because sadly the Sage Goddess Advisor Program has been closed. So the referral code that I give you guys all the time to use is no longer active. I will no longer get any commissions off sales. So that is kind of sad for me today, but it is what it is. So, and maybe it's the universe's way of telling me I need to go in a different direction that I wouldn't have gone with if this didn't happen. So I'm trying to put a positive spin on it and say that there's a lesson and a message in there for me, and that I just need to listen to it. So, but I do have a plan of what I want to kind of do in the direction I want to do it. It's just now a matter of time and funds to make it all happen. So, but that is, again, go back and watch the last couple of weeks of videos, and we've talked about that this time of year is all about planning and making small steps towards our goals. So when spring and summer get here, we can kind of take more of an action on it. So that is exactly what I'm doing. I'm using this time, this winter time, for planning and thoughts and brainstorming and ideas and all that of exactly how I want to tie this all together. And then hopefully in the spring and the summer, I can start taking some more concrete steps to making that happen. But I hope you enjoyed this video. A thumbs up, a heart, anything watched, even an angry face if that's what it is. So I hope everybody has a super amazing day. I hope you have a great weekend. Like I said, I am going to try to just come on live with my phone sometime Saturday or Sunday to just kind of go over my altar with you. It's just way too much to have tried to move out here. I did order a camera to come. I think it's supposed to be delivered today. It's one that's going to connect to the computer, but I can move it. So as we do some crafting or some gridding or anything, I can move the camera down, and so you guys can actually see my table space that's right here, and not just me trying to hold things up for you. So hoping that's going to work a little bit better for us for the things that I have planned for this year. So with that, like I said, have an amazing weekend. Try to find some time this weekend for a little bit of self-care. That's always important, whether that be music or meditation or just a hot bath, watching a movie with the kids. Again, it's always open for interpretation, so whatever it is for you, that is your self-care. I would love to go get a massage, but that's not going to happen. This weekend, I am going to get my tattoo finished, so I'm pretty happy about that. So even though that's probably not really under self-care, I'm going to put it there. And remember, as always, be kind. Be kind to yourself. Be kind to others. Your kindness may not only change your day, could change somebody else's day, and potentially could change somebody else's life. So thanks for watching. Love you guys. Thank you for the ones that joined me this morning. It's nice when I have somebody here and some comments going and a little bit of interaction going. So it does really mean a lot to me when you guys are here. So thanks. Love you. Bye.